Okay, so this is a question to all our Stargate fans, mostly SG-1 fans. Something I don't get about the series and the movie Continuum, because if you think about it, let's talk about Continuum for a second, okay? They go back in time, and time is altered, and because Ball traveled back in time and then blew the ship up that carried the Stargate from Egypt to the US. So okay, Daniel, Sam and Cameron travel through the Stargate when people are beginning to disappear. What happens is that they land or come, the Stargate erupts through the ice. They arrive on a ship that is on the North Pole because the Stargate weirded them, of course, when Ball set off the bomb. What happens is that the ship is sinking, so they have to get up and then meet O'Neill in the submarine. So O'Neill takes them back to the US, and they talk to Landry, and he says that they have to live their lives without being noticed a lot, because Sam was a famous astronaut, Daniel was some famous not thing for not being able to prove his theories about the pyramids and them being alien platforms for ships or something. And Cameron, of course, never existed. And they figure out later that it's a grandfather paradox, because the ship, the Achilles, was led by Cameron's grandfather, which of course died, and which never had any children because he died, and blah, blah, blah. So a year later, they all get contacted by, I don't know what it's called, the US, Al-Kash, or scout ship, scout the Earth, and I think Sam calls Daniel and Cameron calls Sam or something. But they all wind up together, and then they solve the problem. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is how can there be two Daniels? There's an episode in one of the series, and I don't know which series it is, where an alternate Kowalski and Carter go through the gate. No, go through the quantum mirror. So they wind up in our dimension, and not long after, Sam begins, or Samantha, that's the other Sam with the long hair, begins to have major trouble, because she feels like there's only room for one Sam within that dimension. Because that's how it, I don't know why that is, but that is. So they figure out that the same Sam and Kowalski, Daniel, Tilk, and O'Neill, they go back to their universe and try to fix things, or call Asgard or whatever. What I don't understand is, how can Daniel be alive for 1 year without having the same trouble that Samantha had in the series? I don't know if it's to do with the alternate dimensions, or actually it's just the same dimension. It is, they're both from the same dimension, but they have two different. But how can that be? I don't know.